The DCS P-47 can fire 2 rocket types. You can fire off 4.5-inch M8 rockets out of tubes, or you can use the 5-inch high-velocity aircraft rockets. And the HVAR rockets have more performance penalty than the M8, but they have a larger warhead, so they're better to use in general. And this is the cockpit workflow to use when firing the rockets. So we're going to use the M8 rockets first, and we'll start off between 2,000 to 2,500 feet above the ground with an entry speed of about 230 to 250 miles an hour. We have a single target over there to the factory. It's just a single truck, and we're going to line up the target along the gun port. So we just go through the flow to get ourselves set up. Going to use instantaneous fuse with a single firing mode, and then we get the safety switch to the ready position, and now we're ready to shoot it. So as we line it up here on the gun port, the outside gun port is going to give you about 20 degrees of dive, and the inner is going to give you about 35. So it touches the wing, we begin the roll, we can turn towards the target. As we line up on the target, we'll roll level, bring the nose down, and for the M8 rockets, we're going to use the center cross as our aiming point. And then once we reach about 600 to 700 feet AGL, we'll fire off the rockets, and we'll recover and have a look at the hit. So the M8 rockets have a slightly different trajectory to the HVAR rockets, meaning we'll have to account for the arc by firing a little bit higher, which is why we use that center cross. And these M8 rockets are generally less effective going after targets, so you're much better off shooting them all in one pass rather than trying to kill stuff with one shot each. So in this example, we're going to use the high velocity rockets, and we're going to go after some trains. So I'm lining it up, and I'm going to go through the flow now. Alright, so the rockets are ready. We're going to line up the train with the gun port. Just like before, we're starting out between 2,000 to 2,500 feet above the ground. Now, just as it's touching the wing, we begin to turn into the target. And the aiming point is going to be a little bit different. This one we're using the top horizontal line for our aiming point. So we get that aligned on the train track in front of the train. We'll fire at 600 to 700 feet, and then we'll recover and have a look at the hit. Now the high velocity rockets have a flatter trajectory compared to the M8s. That's why we fire a little bit lower on the gun sight. But with that explosive warhead being much larger, we're able to destroy targets easier. So using the energy from the dive, we're going to climb back up and begin a recovery, and we're going to make another pass against the next train. So we'll just speed up the time as we make these couple of turns. And looking off into the distance, there's several trains to go for. And we want to attack the train along the length of it. So I need to attack at 90 degrees to the railway line. So I'm going to make a right 90 degree turn here and set it up to align with my left gun ports. And I'm planning on using the remaining 8 rockets for this attack. So I'm going to set it up with the salvo option, and I'll use the delay as well. It's a little far away, but that's okay. We really just want to get ourselves aligned with the train tracks. So we make the turn and line up parallel, and we get that top horizontal line in front of the train and get ready to shoot. So as we approach 600 to 700 feet AGL, we'll fire and begin pulling up at the same time. And this way we spread out where those rockets are hitting along the length of the train rather than all hitting one spot. And here from the external view, you can see that as we begin pulling up as we shoot, the rockets each hit a different spot. We can cause maximum damage to the train. Alright, so now that we've fired off all the rockets, all we've got left are the machine guns. So we'll set ourselves up just in the same way as before, starting out between 2,000 to 2,500 feet. I'm going to fly the same kind of profile. So we're coming up on this train, we'll line it up on the gun ports. And we'll start the roll in. We are attacking this train from the side. So as we get this dive, we're going to line it up with the center cross. We'll start firing, and then we can kick the rudder across if you want, try and hit more of the train as you pass by. Now from the side, you're better off attacking the locomotive first, that way you can stop it moving. But now we're going to set up another attack, same profile, and we're going to aim to attack the train along the length of it. And that way we can hopefully rake it from the back to the front. See what the train lined up. We're at 90 degrees to it. So as it touches the gun port, we'll start the roll in. Get our dive going, get the center cross lined up at the beginning of the train. And we'll start firing away at the rest of the carriages. And we can recover. So I completed the tutorial on how to do rockets and strafing in the DCS P-47D. Until next time, remember to fly safe in Junker 6.